Hey guys, Alex here from Computer Headquarters, and this is an entire rack of RTX 30 series. Brian, we're trying to film a video. Kyle, what the heck, man? All right, anyway, we're talking about why video cards are so expensive right now. All right, everyone, so the reason why the video cards are so expensive is simple: supply and demand. All right, great video, guys. Let's wrap it up. All done, that's it. I'm just kidding. So supply and demand, duh, right? So everyone knows that part probably, but why and what's the problem with the supply and what's the problem with demand? Because we have a lot of issues on both sides. So I've got some notes here I'm gonna be looking at, and we've actually already kind of made this whole video and came back and we're making it better. And there's actually a lot of bigger YouTubers that I've seen making videos about this subject, but not really, I feel like that no one really is covering all of this stuff. They're talking about like one topic at a time maybe. So I'm hoping to cover most of them. If you people are like, oh, you totally missed this thing that happened in, you know, some other country that caused a huge problem, like let me know in the comments and maybe we'll revise the video. But okay, let's talk about supply first. So the first issue with supply is that Nvidia Founders Edition cards were made in very, very low quantity. So Nvidia raced to come out with their 30 series card as fast as they could. Let's get ahead of AMD's RX 6000 series cards. They wanted to be first to the game with the new technology and get all that hype and buzz out there, right? But they barely made any Founders Edition cards. So low supply from them right off the bat, right? Next up, another thing on supply. The Trump tariff went into place in 2021. So Trump tariff is 25% tariff on all video cards starting in 2021 if it was built in China. So in the past, like we buy a lot of video cards, thousands of video cards a month we buy, right? So in the past, we weren't really paying tariffs because there was like exemption for video cards. So a lot of times we'd get hit with the tariff and then we could apply for a dispute or dispute the charge under a specific tariff law, and then we'd always get our money back or not have to pay the charge. It was great. Well, it changed. Now you have to pay the tariff. 25% is huge, right? So the supply is changing because now the supply is actually starting at a different price, which sucks for you guys that want to buy the card at the old price that you saw it advertised at. All right, next up, the Trump tariff went into place in 2021. So Trump tariff is 25% tariff on all video cards starting in 2021 if it was built in China. So in the past, like we buy a lot of video cards, thousands of video cards a month we buy, right? So in the past, we weren't really paying tariffs because there was like exemption for video cards. So a lot of times we'd get hit with the tariff and then we could apply for a dispute or dispute the charge under a specific tariff law, and then we'd always get our money back or not have to pay the charge. It was great. Well, it changed. Now you have to pay the tariff. 25% is huge, right? So the supply is changing because now the supply is actually starting at a different price, which sucks for you guys that want to buy the card at the old price that you saw it advertised at. Next up on the supply side, we have a huge, massive global silicon shortage. I want to explain this a little bit more. The two main fabricators are, in our sector at least, you know, video cards and CPUs and stuff. We've got TSMC and we've got Samsung. So TSMC, what do they make? They make AMD processors, so Ryzen 5000, which has been in high demand and hard to get. Radeon video cards, so the RX 6000 video cards that just came out. Can't get a hold of those right now either, right? They make Apple cell phones. Yeah, Apple cell phones, so everywhere, you know, massive amounts of those. And then the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. So all the latest stuff that everyone wants that just came out in the past year, that's sold out everywhere, that is getting scalped and botted, is tons of that stuff is TSMC. Now Samsung is actually making the RTX 30 series cards. So it's nice that they're not on TSMC because that would make everything even that much worse. But Samsung is also having their own issues because obviously there are not enough 30 series cards to go around right now. So anyway, chip shortage, it's actually going so far as there's car companies right now that are shutting down their whole plants for weeks at a time because they don't have enough chips to build the computer systems in their cars. All right, so next part on the supply chain is probably the most annoying part of this whole thing, and that's scalpers and bots. And what a scalper really is someone that goes and buys, let's say, an RTX 3090, RTX 3080 off of like newegg.com, bestbuy.com, something like that. Or let's say it's a PlayStation 5, they buy it off of sony.com and they get it where a regular consumer should be shopping and buying. We don't buy from where consumers buy. We buy from what's called distribution. You have to have a business license. We've been buying and selling video cards for years, and we were typically selling 1,000 to 2,000 video cards per month prior to all of this stuff that happened. Now we barely get 500 cards a month because of how bad the supply chain is right now. Anyway, so we're not scalpers, but scalpers typically right now are using bots. They're buying the cards out from under you at the normal price, and they're selling it at the top price on eBay or StockX or wherever, right? So they're messing up the supply chain. All right, so we've talked about the supply, a lot of different things affecting the supply. Let's talk about demand, because demand is also a huge factor right now. The first thing I want to bring up, earlier we talked about Nvidia Founders Edition cards being low inventory, low stock. They didn't make very many. Well, they also messed up the pricing on day one. They said, hey, a RTX 3070 is $500, $499.99 for their Founders Edition card. And then you can't get one for that price even on day one, right? Well, they should have put those prices more at a reasonable expectation. And maybe you could say they didn't know when they did it that it would be that hard to get enough supply out there. But most of the cards are actually being sold by board partners. EVGA, Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, Zotac, PNY, there's tons of them, right? So the cards are all coming from these guys, and they don't get enough of the cards either. And they're paying that 25% tariff we just talked about. And they're trying to make money. And from what we've been told, they've actually been getting a lower margin from Nvidia on the actual GPU itself. So they're actually pushing their price up a little bit higher to try to maintain the same margins they were at before. Anyway, that low price kind of caused a misperception of reality of where the price should really be, because people see, oh, Nvidia 3070 is supposed to be $500. And then they see like a Strix 3070 was $700 theoretically, and then they're mad that it's $700. Well, the board partner can set the price wherever they want to. And now they have to put the 25% on top of that. It's not gonna be $700, it's gonna be $800 or $1,000 even. All right, next up, COVID, stay at home. This is probably really obvious, but COVID has changed the whole landscape. So many people are working from home, and because they're working from home, they're on their computers all the time at their house. And a lot of people that didn't have a computer at their house or didn't have a good computer at their house have had to change so that they have something they can use for work at home. And a lot of companies just said, hey, Steve, here's $1,000, go buy a computer. And Steve's a gamer, so he's of course gonna buy a gaming computer, and he's gonna use it for work, and then he's gonna play with it at night. In addition to work from home, we've got all the kids at home from school. A lot of the kids are back in school right now because it's the end of March. It's literally the 31st as of filming this, and you're probably gonna see this on the 1st of April, right? But a lot of the kids all over the United States are back in school now, but they weren't. And because they're at home all the time, what are they gonna do with their time? They're gonna play video games. A lot of kids are gonna play video games because you can socially distance while playing video games. And a lot of them needed to upgrade their rigs to play the newest games. They wanna play Cyberpunk or some other dumpster fire. Anyway, so they're upgrading their rigs, or maybe they're switching from console. We get a lot of customers flying airplanes that are switching from console. We get a lot of young customers that are switching from an Xbox or a PlayStation environment into PC. A bunch of their friends convince them. A lot of times, the parents will will call us or do a consultation, and they want to build a computer. Anyway, so we've got students, kids, we've got people working from home. Another factor influencing demand is just the popularity of PC gaming itself. It's been growing every single year, but normally it grows something like 3 to 5% per year. Last year in 2020, it grew 16%. Ridiculous growth. Obviously, a lot of that can be attributed to the things we're talking about right now, especially the stay at home and the kids and everything. Anyway, so the market is still expected to see another 25% growth over the next 3 years. So huge growth, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. All right, final thing of this video is mining. So demand for video cards especially has gone through the roof because of mining. And it makes sense. I know a lot of you watching this video, you're mad at scalpers. I'm also mad at scalpers, and you're mad at miners, but I'm not mad at miners. And the reason why I'm not mad at miners is because I personally think that if you're a gamer, then you should be mining. That's just my take on it. I know it's not as easy for everyone to do it, but if you have a pretty good video card already in your gaming system, it's really easy to just download NiceHash. There's a lot of other ways to mine, but NiceHash is very easy and simple, and you can just install it, set it up in minutes, and turn it on. And when you're not using your computer for gaming, you're making money. So, a 3090 right here, terrible card as an investment, in my opinion. We barely ever see 3090s here, and there's a reason It's a stupid card. It has a terrible performance for the money. They're going for $3,000 plus right now. But if you're buying one and you're spending $3,000, you're probably looking at mining on it and how long it's gonna take for you to get your money back, the $3,000 you spent. So I personally think that, especially if you're gonna justify it to yourself right now, paying the stupid high prices, that you should be mining on it. Turn it on, get your money back. And if you're looking for advice on what card to start with, I would really recommend a 3060. There's some locks on it and things like that, and there's a lot of workarounds on the internet you can read about, but you can theoretically make your money back on a 3060 pretty easily. And it doesn't take a lot of power, and it doesn't put out a lot of heat. I do want to mention 2 other things about mining and why people are doing it so much. We're kind of on the trail end of the winter right now. We're moving into spring. In a lot of places in the United States, it's been really cold. So people mining in their room with just one card has been actually a pretty nice thing to do, because they're making the money and they're also heating up the room. It's like a double whammy, right? As we move into summer, it'll probably be less popular. And I'm gonna just end it on the little bit of a conspiracy thing that kind of involves everything we talked about. So we talked about mining and we talked about supply and demand, and we talked a lot about Nvidia. And this is all speculation that I'm saying, but Nvidia is coming out with their new mining cards that they claim will help the market, because gamers will buy the gaming cards and miners will buy the mining cards. And the cards that they've released so far are a little bit sus, as the kids are saying right now. They're really low end. They don't mine that well. They don't have video output, so there's no resale value on them really. And the prices are still really high. And some of the research that I've seen basically says that these cards didn't make the cut to be a gaming card. So they didn't make the cut to be a gaming card. There was some defect or flaw in the process of building that card or testing that chip, the GPU, that said this card doesn't qualify. And probably in the past, it would have just been scrapped, thrown away, or maybe they would have downgraded it from, say, a GTX 1660 to a GTX 1650. They would have disabled some stuff on it. Well, instead of disabling that stuff or throwing it in the trash, now they can just make that into a card that they can sell for same, if not higher price than what they were selling it before. And then they're trying to make themselves look really good in the process by saying, oh, we're helping the gamers, we love the gamers, and we're separating everything out. In reality, I think they're just turning trash into treasure and making more profit at the end of the day. And I think a lot of that has to do also with, there's a lot of articles saying that the yields that Samsung is getting from on the GPUs that Nvidia uses to make the RTX 30 series are actually pretty bad. They're not getting as many GPUs as they would normally want. And so they probably are turning those normally bad yielding products into something that they can still sell. A lot of doom and gloom, but I don't see the prices actually changing anytime soon. You're probably gonna see this on April 1st. There are gonna be a bunch of articles out there, there already have been, and there are gonna be more about the price changes that MSI and ASUS and EVJ are all announcing to the public. I think starting tomorrow on April 1st, EVJ officially on their website is gonna have the new huge prices, and there's warnings on the website right now about new prices gonna happen. My video editor will kind of put some of those over the screen here for you to take a look at. But that being said, I really don't see the prices changing anytime soon. If you're waiting for a video card, your best hope really is Intel coming out with their video card and putting more supply into the high demand market. So if you're waiting and you have the money, maybe you should pull the trigger, overpay, because maybe overpaying right now will actually be a good deal compared to the future. That's all I got for you. I'm sure this was a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any corrections you want to make about things I said that you think were wrong, I'd love to hear it in the comments, and we'll bring you some more computer related content soon. Thanks. Wow. We get a lot of customers flying airplanes that are switching from console.